breakdown. Well, hello there. The magic of movie making. You come in from the side. Coming from the side entrance. I've moved the phone much closer in the wanting to have a better sound recording. It's been quite challenging getting the best sound from when the camera's a million miles away. So I moved it closer. I hope it's a clearer vocal recording for this. Let me just double check as always. Cool, this is becoming a bit of a thing, isn't it? Let's break down another moment. It is the art mixing breakdown. It is the art of mixing breakdown. Let's do this. 2, 1, and record. Let's go. Yes, I was just about to say let's do this the second time. Stop it there, just for right now. Mixing fast. You knew that eventually we'll get to this point. It's something that I love to do. But it's something that I see a lot being done, but not the best way, at least from my perspective. Mixing fast has its place. I do feel that it does have a place. Mixing very quick creates a certain pulse, if you will. It has a certain vibe to it. And hoping my face isn't cut up. And using that pulse is cool in a mix. When I find it's best, midway through, maybe 70% through, when you're sort of taking your audience a certain direction, and then you can really double down. If you try doing it in the beginning, if it's too fast, I feel that it can get the audience a bit disinterested. Yeah. I think whenever you're coming in to present your work, you want to start with something a little just slower for people to sort of start vibing with you. Doing something like this, you need to be very switched on, and the audience needs to be switched on with you. They need to be vibing with you. They need to be ready to go, because that's really the only way it works. Even when you're doing it through this sort of medium, you are still dealing with an audience that you want to interact with a certain way. Even though if you can't see them, you almost I'm going to get a bit philosophical here, but you almost can judge by how the mix is going from your end, how things are gonna go. If that makes sense. You need to have a strong emotional intelligence to know when it's the right time, I guess. You know, and I feel that most entertainers have a strong emotional intelligence. That's what makes them, you know, quite good at what they do. You know, I would also say that it's cool when you are working with endings of songs and you want to have a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, and put them together. And it also puts your skills on display. You know, you don't have to hide behind things. It gives an audience something to watch. It's very entertaining. So that's why I feel it has a place. Now, it doesn't have a place for, you know, the whole thing. You know, having it drop every 30 seconds is just, what's the point? You might as well just put a playlist on, or you might as well just do it in the computer and there you go. You know, I don't understand the point. You know, it's not about, you know, nonsense and then drop, and then nonsense and then drop, and then just, you know, random vocal bits and bobs, and then drop, and then another drop, and then you have like, you know, 300 songs and you play like, you know, 10 seconds of each one. I don't think that has that's just, I don't know. That's not for me. But if you want to have a certain moment or part or sections or of pockets where you are sort of, you know, having these super intense moments, then yeah, cool. Or you're sort of building up, you're ramping it up, you have changes, and you have these sort of collision moments where everything just, you know, comes together. Then awesome. It's almost like you're directing your own movie. And then you want a bit of Michael Bay in one. You want a bit of, you know, Scorsese in another one. You know, you want a bit of you know, Al Pacino to come in and do his thing. You know, that's how I like to look at it. Okay, so a cool way of finishing one of the tracks off, is just adding a straightforward reverb. If you just let the song finish and it just cuts out, just whatever, it can be quite dry and quite intense. It just stops. And then, you know, when you bring in something else in, it's a bit just like, okay. So adding a little bit of a tail or something, a delay or something like this, to join just a little gap, I feel is important for this particular scenario. So like we talked about, in the last breakdown, harmonic mixing, having, you know, having an ear for the melodic content, the content of the music. So you can hear we have this sort of, you know, higher pitched sort of synth coming through. And then the second one, we have something, you know, a similar sort of character going on, a different melody, but, you know, a similar sort of high synth coming in, and it creates enough similarities. The audience isn't like, what the hell is going on? But it also creates a nice change and a nice contrast that you still want to dance to, you still want to keep going. And it doesn't have to be like a super intense drop, you know, to make your point when you're doing like a hard mix. Could be, you know, softer styles, but heavier on the melodic side of things. So now, one thing you have to do in this case is you have to be very focused. So straight away, once we switch, we're checking the levels, making sure the low end's there, making sure the effects are back in, making sure nothing's like tailing off, and making sure we're not forgetting anything. You gotta be very, very quick. And straight away, we're on to the next one. Figure out what the next one is. Getting the cue point ready. Yep, setting up. Making sure the tempo is right. Making sure it's matched where we want it to be. Playing it. So that's straight away. I mean, it's only been a few seconds. We already got the cue point, you're playing it. You have to be very quick if you want to do this. We're checking it. So we've already played it. Remember, we've already played the cue point. We checked it. Actually, should rephrase. When you are doing something like this, one of the key points is you have to trust your cue points. There isn't time to really listen to your cue point. You have to trust the cue point that you have for that song. It's important to have some familiarity. That's why it's important to have a bit of prep, so you sort of know the vibe of the song. Maybe you can tell from the waveform, or you can remember a bit of the melody of the piece, and you sort of remember, okay, yep, I know that cue point. So you need to have a bit of prep, so you can trust the cue point, you know where you want to go from, and then you can do it. Sometimes you might have a bit of time, like we do here when you've played it, but you have to play it so you have at least 4, 8, 16 bars of the ending of the one that's playing to join into the other one. Again, you know, how would you approach that? Well, you can pick 3 or 4 songs that you like the ending of, and you can time them, the cue points, whatever margin you think is good for that song, 8 bars or 16 bars or 4 bars, and you know, okay, now we're at the section when we're going to do fast mixing. I have put these cue points at 8 bars of each one's ending, and then you know, okay, I might have a bit of time to just double check. So that's what we're doing here. We're just quickly double checking again. Okay, I know it, and we're adding in what we want to do. Like taking the low end out. Maybe we're just adding in some effects in. So here was very quick. We're just going with a go-to reverb tail, something that I know, that I trust, that I can confidently just focus on mixing in quickly. You know, when you are doing like this, the key point is focusing on the mixing, not being creative about, you know, the effects you add and everything else around it. You have to be very, very focused on, okay, I gotta have this, I want to do this, and focusing on the core of the art of mixing. And letting your mixing skills, letting that your skill be the entertainment factor. So cool. We're adding a bit of a funky sort of reverse with a bit of double, playing around with the cue points, the slip functionality, which I love to use. This piece has a great tension about it, with that violin, the cello sound coming through. You'll notice that even though I'm pretty sure I don't change it here, we allow it to play, I'm already focused on the next one. I'm already focused on the next track, getting that ready while this is building. Because we don't have time to you know, wave our hands around at this moment. There isn't much time to detain with the audience. There'll be moments for that. There's time for that. But in this particular instance, we got to move on. We need to get the other one ready. Oh, checking the cue point, checking the tempo. Awesome. That's getting ready. Checking again. Just want to make sure. Maybe I pick a different one. maybe I'm happy with that one. What else can we do? Okay, so as we're listening, again, like we talked about in the previous one, this is something that when you're playing guitar, for example, for a good amount of time, you don't really focus on what your strumming hand's doing. You're more focused on your left hand. You're more focused on the vibe or the soul of what you're playing. That's what we're doing here. While I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, so I'm just checking. Okay, that can work. Let's just create something cool for this change here. Just to make it different, just to make it fun for people when they're listening to the mix. It's a mix after all, it's not a playlist. So let's just do something fun. And for this instance, we're just doing something quick, and a bit of flanger, bit of effect there, and we go. Very quick. Really cool, because I know that what's coming in is it's a bit dirtier, and it could really, that more metallic phaser sounds and really benefit. It's going to play well with the drum. And now we have the freedom to interact with the audience, dance, interact with the people who are watching a stream, smile at a person watching you, and you do something with your hands, just dance and enjoy the groove. Be part of the journey that you're part of. I think, and let me just double check how much time we are working with. Cool, awesome. So there you go. That's one approach that I take to mixing. I always forget. It freaks me out. I gotta make sure I press the stop button. Okay, cool. So that's my approach to mixing live quickly. Once again, I do feel that there is a place for it. There is a certain vibe, and I do like to do it to create a high energy, to create that intensity. But no studio. I don't need the definition of what intensity means. That's how I feel it should be approached, but in pockets. So have a longer form, use more traditional mixing techniques, use modern techniques, switch between songs, and then have a moment when it really is intense. And fast mixing really helps with that. Picky endings of songs, blending them together, creating. You can see when we're looking at that final session, when that sort of lower sort of blend of that violin cello when that's coming in, it's a different vibe because it has that tension from us rapidly mixing through, and for me it sounds different, it feels different, and all we have to do is add a bit of an effect quickly, and it just adds a different vibe to the whole experience, and that makes it a little more just satisfying. And yeah, but I think the key point from here is having trust in your cue points. You might have a moment where you can listen to it. Sometimes you might not have a chance to listen to your points, depending on how quick you want to go. This, I would say, is moderate. I've been known to go even quicker. Especially when you're switching between two at the same time, which is also very cool. And that's also something that we'll look into. And what else? Yeah, so even in those situations, it's the fundamental is you need to have a prep. You need to be prepped for something like that. Be trusting in the cue points that you have, and just have confidence in doing it, and practice. Awesome. Hope you have got something awesome out of this. I think I said awesome already. That's the third time. I'll catch you in the next one.